Going to bring Ainslie in and talk gold. Ainslie, gold has been gold, isn't it? Goes one way, goes another way, and all of a sudden goes nowhere.
Looky. Look, we've got to love consistency, don't we?
Yep.
I think this is what we can say about gold. We're starting to understand. Well, if you've been listening for a while now, I guess you can understand exactly what has been happening with gold. We had the major sell-off after the Fed announcement, which was meant to be pretty boring, but unless you were gold, we had the major sell-off, and all we've done is just we said this last Sunday night is okay. What does gold do after it's had a big move? She goes sideways. So true to form, she's gone sideways. And in a really tight range. Julian said it's more of a bit of a where to now, but is it looking for a bounce? Is it looking to continue on its way down? For me, it's really interesting because we've got a couple of things happening. If we pop over here to the chart second from the right, which is my weekly one. This is one that we've had this huge bull flag on for quite some time, and we've watched as it sort of edged its way up and then it's come flying back down. And I put this level, and I'm not a fib trader at all, but it's sort of a chart I muck around with checking technical levels and seeing if anything makes any sense and can give me a bias in one direction or the other. And what we had here was look at that, 50 fib. Straight, it's landed on the 50 fib. That's just hugging it, holding off a grim death. I don't know whether it's scared and we're looking for a bit more of a move back down into this region here. I don't know, or whether we're looking at, hey, we've got a double bottom, we've had the lift off, we've had a retest, and now we're looking to go further. Don't know. I'm waiting to see what comes, because at the moment I have not got enough information there to trade it one way or the other. So I'm guessing, and I know, Paul, you can look it up on your MT4. I'm not on MT4 at the moment, but this one I'm presuming that the pivot is going to drop down to be closer around this level as well. So there would be the weekly pivot having a bit of a dip, but yeah, hang tight, because it's either going to hold strong onto this 1770-ish level, which is a really strong area of support, or we're going to see it plummet straight back down to around that 1700 level. Don't know. The one thing that I'm holding out for, because it is the end of the week, yes, it is the end of the week, end of the month, is towards about the end of the first week of July, we have a seasonal bias for a rally long, which is meant to, look, it was the August rally that saw us see gold kiss 2000, or pop over that 2000 level, and that was in August last year. And look, are we going to have that same benefit again? I don't know. I'd like to see it, but let's just sit and wait. So at the moment, we've got a very nice, neat tight range going sideways, going nowhere fast. But obviously we need some more impetus, and we'll see what month end brings. Thanks, Paul.
Geez, 1781 for weekly pivot by the look of it, 1781.23. So that will give us a little bit of something to work with as we go forward, right?
Yeah. That's not much to go on, because that's smack bang in the middle of that very tight range. So.
Yeah, it's boy, it loves to do this, doesn't it? Bang up, bang down, just go nowhere for a period of time. It is the gold way, right?
Yeah, it gives you plenty of time to run off and get the housework done, and at the moment I'm running absolutely nowhere, because we're in lockdown again for 2 weeks, and that's just been extended for all of New South Wales, and it's imminent that it looks like right across the country. So very unfortunate, but what a way to spend school holidays.
They've just extended us for 2 days, and I was grumpy enough for that. One of you inside us came and ran around here, making us all sick. Not that there's been any cases, but we've been locked down for 3 days with no cases. We've got a couple more days to go. We're not locked down. We're only level 2 here. It's pretty mellow. Yeah, the Australian thing looks a bit rough. Ainslie, gosh, I think that's a big miss at the moment. If you ask me, when the analysts are looking at the world, one thing we're not really pricing in is the fact that COVID comes back and has a real run at us. And I just think that I'm a big fan of vaccines. I'm a big fan of governments doing what they're doing. Lockdowns are the right thing to do. This is not that, people say, well, more people die of the flu, or more people die of the flu because we don't lock down with the flu. If we hadn't locked down for COVID, we would have killed a lot of people. And I really have to say right now, it doesn't look great for mine. And this Delta variant is no fun at all, and could really put a bit of a spanner in these markets over the next few weeks. I just have a feeling we might see some numbers pop up somewhere. We might see the markets go, oops. I think the market's disregarding it. I think that's probably a very brave thing to do.
I think so, and I think this is where remember going back to the beginning of last year, Europe and the US very much considered COVID an Asian problem, or they really hadn't caught on to how it's going to pan out, how this Delta variant is now going to have an impact not only on economies, like they're saying it's going to cost $3 billion for New South Wales to be shut down for 2 weeks, which is it's quite a dent. But you just look at that and how it's going to impact businesses on the ground. I mean, on the flip side, you look at somewhere like India, and then I'm reading Mukesh Ambani, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name properly, but he's looking at pivoting and spending $10 billion on changing his petrochemical oil refining company in the middle of a pandemic. It's going to start, but you're just like crazy stuff. You go from one extreme to the other. But
yeah, the market's were really slow last year to price it in, right? They really were slow to price it in, and they just appear to be ignoring it. And again, there's no need for panic or anything like that. But you look at it and just go, shit, excuse my language, on YouTube, Facebook, etc. This thing might not quite be done, and that is a scary thought.
It is. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Well, a couple hundred, that was mine, Angie. I was going to come over in a couple of weekends. I'm going to now. I can't get home, Actually, New Zealand has closed the bubble with the whole of Australia.
For 3 days.
They've closed the bubble with the whole of Australia. There are a few other concerns, aren't there? Some stuff in Brisbane, some stuff in Perth. All of a sudden, this looks like this needs to be got on top of really quickly, right?
Yeah, and hopefully they will. But it didn't help that this started from, and patient zero was a limo driver from Bondi who went and picked up infected airline crew out at the airport without being vaccinated and without a mask on.
Look, I hope I don't offend anyone here, but it does seem to me as if Australia is consistently paying for rank stupidity. If it's not security guards sleeping with people in isolation, it's limo drivers not wearing masks and getting vaccinations they're supposed to get. Boy, oh boy. Tell you what, you'd be unpopular in this country with that kind of stuff. We
try the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Not a popular person. He's not popular.
Look, I'm sure he thought it was going to be okay, but boy, that is $3 billion. He'll be paying that off for a long time. Thank you very much for the look at gold, and we'll talk oil with you. And look, was the other way, just keeps on going. These big end targets look pretty good.